laid to rest in 1997 in San Ignacio, Baja California, the ancestral homeland of his mother. At age 60, Eduardo Carrillo died too young. Death could not extinguish the life of Eduardo's art and his legacy of generosity and influence. To make sure of this, Museo Eduardo Carrillo was founded in 2001 by me, his widow, and a group of concerned friends and scholars. He had been dead about 2 years, and I woke up one morning from a dream that I had, and the word Museo Eduardo Carrillo just peeled across my screen. And I went, ooh, that sounds good. And then I also realized that since he was gone, he could not do that work of creating Museo Eduardo Carrillo, but I could. And so it really was the moment when I realized I had a job to do. He left me with a job. In the early 1960s, Eduardo was graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, with a bachelor's and then a master's degree in art. He was encouraged by his professors to go to Spain to immerse himself in the Spanish art tradition. He lived in Madrid for a year and went to the Prado most days to copy a painting by Hieronymus Bosch. To do this, he learned from a living master how to mix the formulas of the Renaissance masters, giving to his work that same special luminosity. When he returned to California in 1961, he began his teaching career at East Los Angeles College at the beginning of the social upheaval of the 1960s. Later, in 1970, he returned to UCLA to work with a group of artists on what is considered to be the first public art mural in an institution of higher learning in the United States. As the barrio cultures of the first wave of Mexican immigrants gave way to a broader place in society for the firstborns, Eduardo felt the impact of the formative stages of the Chicano movement while the anti-war protests raged. Exploring his own roots, his research into pre-Columbian art and mythology and indigenous rituals blended with his familiar European background and found their way into his art. He discovered the majestic murals of the great Mexican trio Rivera, Siqueiros, and Orozco. They became a pivotal inspiration for the Chicano movement. Bringing art into the public realm mirrored closely held values within Mexican culture. Everyday life was filled with moments of creativity, participation in creating home altars, and fabrication using discarded materials, the ultimate recyclers, really. He took the everyday things of life and wound it through his understanding of his heritage and its myths to fashion remarkable visions of the world in pliable paint. The freeways overpass in LA were traced to the Nahuatl calendar. Majestic columns were pant legs, trim and brusque, and then the wearer became the bearer of mythic resonance. Ibarra Frausto said, Chicano art seeks to link reality to the imagination. The founding of Museo Eduardo Carrillo grew out of our desire to share Eduardo's work. As an online museum, we are accessible at all times. This reassuring ability to provide unlimited viewing allows us to concentrate on bringing Eduardo's actual work into the world. Interest has surged. In 2008, La Tierra de mi Madre was curated by Deborah Silguero for the National Steinbeck Center in Salinas, California, focusing on Eduardo's work from San Ignacio, its people and land. Then, in 2009, curator Susan Hillhouse from the Museum of Art and History in Santa Cruz organized the exhibition Eduardo Carrillo within a cultural context.
Like this is all painted white, right? That ribbon and then it's glazed with a color.
That's beautiful.
Right?
It's the basic palette.
That's why he was saying that painting is molding. It's layer after layer after layer.
And cutting back. He always talked about cutting back, then putting on, and then cutting back, putting on, cutting
scraping
back.
it off.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just to build texture and tone that would come through the other surfaces that were going to go on top.
So it would kind of emerge always out of what he was doing, I think, you know.
Kind of emerge. Yeah.
It was a process of.
Yeah.
And I guess at a certain point he was done.
It is the last painting. It's unfinished. Yeah.
He had it in his studio?
It was in his studio, in his easel, just like that.
So that's why the painting is such an experience. Well, I think that his experience, the richness of the experience of making the painting, is one of the things that comes through the paintings when we look at them. So that's not just like a plan, an idea, and there it is, and you're separated from it in that way.
Yeah, there was a discovery all along the way.
In this case, I'm glad it wasn't finished, because in that you see exactly how he felt at that moment. It's very difficult to look at because he has so revealed himself to himself in that moment that I don't think I've ever seen a self-portrait like that before.
It's kind of like a horror on his
in
face.
which he stopped and thought, oh my God, this is where I am now. And it's beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
The show traveled to College of Notre Dame de Namur in Belmont, California, and Santa Rosa Junior College. A hardbound, full-color book was published. One of our proudest accomplishments is our partnership with the Crocker Art Museum, located in the newly constructed wing, the Eduardo Carrillo Gallery. It will feature a rotation of Eduardo's work and will show the art of other Latinos and contemporaries of Eduardo. His vivid vision of a transformed world and his legacy of inclusion continue. The eminent artist and UCLA professor William Bryce said of Eduardo's paintings, quote, "They were surprising in their completeness of realization and absolutely convincing in authenticity. In all, there was evident his serious inquiry, his bold adventure, his passionate engagement." Death claimed his future paintings, but the influence of the art reverberates through the loving curiosity of the painter, Eduardo Carrillo. Como un rayito de luna entre la selva dormida, así la luz de tus ojos iluminando mi pobre vida. Tú diste luz al sendero en mis noches importunas, iluminando mi cielo como un rayito claro de luna.